Hello and welcome to another video on Git. In this video I'll be providing a conceptual overview on remote repositories. In our previous videos and up to now, we've been looking at some basic Git commands to get us started on using Git. So we've got git add, git commit, and many others. All these commands allow us to use Git locally on our computer through the terminal. Now the key word I want you to notice is locally. What does this mean? What do we mean by doing my work locally? Well, it means that I've done all my work on my local machine, my computer. So if I wanted to collaborate, any changes I make really can't be seen by other developers that are collaborating with me. And that's where the idea of remote repositories come. It allows us to use version control in a collaborative environment. So to illustrate this further, let's look at an example and let's consider three developers. So we've got developer A, which is this guy, developer B, which is this girl, and developer C, which is this guy. So, and let's consider that each of the developers have a copy of the project on their local machine. So this is the project right now, and for this sake, let's say that the project is the same now. So they contain the exact same code. A, B, and C contain the exact same code. So now, let's suppose A makes a change X. So how will B and C receive those changes, especially if they've made their own changes to the project? Right now, A has made a commit X. How will B and C receive it? Well, A can do it one way by emailing the changes out, maybe emailing his code base, or another one could be putting his code onto USB and giving it to B and C to download onto their computer. Now this is okay, but they're quite a hassle, and they're probably not the most ideal way of doing things, right? If I'm developing and every time I want to send out my code, I don't want to be getting out of my seat and putting it onto USB and giving it to my collaborators. I also don't want to be emailing out all my code because it could be like a 100,000 line code base, right? So what remote repositories do is set up a third-party service or third-party repository. And let's call this guy Origin. Now, Origin is a computer that's stored somewhere, right? It could be in the same building, it could be in the other side of the world. But all it really does is, let's say A makes a change, it will push towards Origin. So Origin has the copy of the code base, and when A is finished, it sends a push, it will load those changes into its own code base. And now when he wants to make a change, he can also push, but before he pushes, he has to update his project. So that's the restriction. In other words, I have to pull from Origin to update my project. And that will merge changes into my project, and then I can commit, and then I can finally push because my project is up to date. So that's the rule. If I want to push towards Origin, my local repository on my computer has to be up to date with the remote repository. It has to be up to date with Origin. And that's essentially how remote repositories work and how we can get collaboration going. Now, the final question we need to ask is, how do we set this up? How do we set up Origin or this computer? And how do we make it fast? Because let's say we have 1,000 developers all pushing at the same time. There's going to be some delays. So we need it fast, and we need it cheap as well, right? I don't want to set up an entire room full of computers just for receiving these push and pulls. Luckily for us, services like this exist. Paid and free services. This includes GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, to name a few of the popular ones. So these products provide remote repositories for us that are fast and always online. And they also provide their own business models and their own variety of features, but they all provide this one feature, remote repositories, where I can push code towards and pull from. Let's have a look at them right here. So this is github.com. You sign in. They have their own pricing models. They also have open source projects. In other words, they have repositories that are public for everyone to see. This is GitLab. It has all of those features as well as many others. And this is Bitbucket. For these videos, I'll be using GitHub. But in fact, all of the commands I'm going to be showing in these videos work for all these services. The only real difference is how we set things up. And in those moments, I'll make sure to emphasize that this setup process is specific to a service. And then I'll emphasize when a command is not specific, it's general to these services. So that's what we'll be looking at in the next few videos. Thank you.